From wondering whether the killer Cub still got it, to fans placing their bets on Dawodu as ringmaster, this is fans predicting Cub Swanson vs. Hakeem Dawodu. Alright fight fans, let's get right into the meaty matchup between the killer Cub Swanson and mean Hakeem Dawodu. Now let's be real, the killer Cub's been around the block a time or two, teetering on the edge of the big 4-0, while mean Hakeem's still sipping from the fountain of youth in his early 30s. Age is nothing but a number, right? Well, not so fast. In the brutal world of UFC, that age gap might just be a sneaky left hook in disguise. The grizzled veterans of the octagon tend to get their clocks cleaned a little more often when up against the spry young blood. And yeah, experience counts, but so do fresh legs and less scar tissue. Swanson's been taking punches longer than some of us have been tying our shoes. And that can rack up a lot of invisible miles on the old body odometer. The fight game is unforgiving and doesn't give two shits about your past glories when you're in the cage with some young gun looking to make their mark. So here's the deal. Some people might be putting their chips on Swanson's experience to carry the day, but there's a whole other camp ready to bank on Dawodu's youth, endurance, and hunger. We've all seen how these age-old stories can play out in the octagon, but when the cage door slams shut, it's anybody's game. This is shaping up to be one hell of a rumble. It's the seasoned warhorse versus the energetic stallion. Will it be the old school or the new blood claiming the win? Time will tell, and I for one can't wait to see how this one shakes out. But before we get into that, let's take a detour into our seasoned Cub hitting the rewind button. He's backtracking from his little detour in the bantamweight division. It's like he went on vacation, didn't quite love the local cuisine, and decided, nah, home cooking's where it's at. Yeah, his recent bantamweight adventure didn't exactly turn out to be a highlight reel. Got his legs worked over by Jonathan Martinez, like a lumberjack on a log. But you know what they say, you win some, you lose some, and then sometimes you get kicked in the leg a bunch. But hey, Swanson's not one to cry over spilled milk. Sure, he had that stubborn streak of wanting to prove the naysayers wrong at 135 pounds. But after some soul-searching and likely a few ice packs on those legs, he's concluded featherweight's his jam. Now being a seasoned fighter, gym owner, and a dad, toughest job in the world, am I right? Cub's got his plate fuller than a Thanksgiving dinner. He's looking at fewer but fiercer fights going forward. The guy's got his priorities straight. He doesn't want to rush back in without having all his ducks in a row. And obviously, part of being prepared is knowing your opponent. So let's look at the fight cards of these two warriors. It's the grizzled veteran versus the young gun. This isn't a schoolyard tussle. It's a clash of the titans, an epic saga of experience and youth. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Cub Swanson is no stranger to the octagon. He's seen it all. Stepping into the ring more times than a WE wrestler, this guy has a laundry list of fights under his belt. His professional record as of July 2023? A solid 28 wins and 13 losses. He's got the experience and it shows. The Cub is not one to shy away from a good old-fashioned knockout. He's dished out 13 of them, like a baker serving up hot buns. But he's also got a knack for the long game, scoring 11 wins by decision. Not to mention his 4 submission wins, which proves he can grapple as well as he can punch. But life in the octagon isn't all sunshine and rainbows. The last time Swanson stepped into the cage, he took an L against Martinez. It was a tough loss, but you know what they say. It isn't about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Then on the other corner of the ring, we've got mean Hakeem Dawodu. Still in his early 30s, he's got a fight record that's as impressive as his intimidating nickname. His professional stats? 13 wins, 3 losses, and a draw. Not too shabby for a young gun, right? The guy loves a good knockout, just like Swanson. He's dished out 7 KOs throughout his career. But here's where it gets interesting. The fighter has never won by submission, not once. Makes you wonder how he'll fare if the fight goes to the ground, doesn't it? Like Swanson, Dawodu's also coming off a loss. Didn't go too well for him, with a unanimous decision going Julian Erosa's way. The opposing fighter managed to nab a win against him in their last fight. But every loss is a lesson, and the fighter's no doubt eager to show he's learned his. Both of them have felt the sting of defeat in their last fights, which makes this upcoming battle even more interesting. It's not just about who's going to win, it's about who's got the grit to bounce back, to rise from the ashes. Experience or youth, who'll come out on top? One thing's for sure, whether you're Team Swanson or Team Dawodu, Dawodu, this matchup is going to be one hell of a ride. So let's dish some dirt on what our two warriors are all about. First, we've got Hakeem. Now this dude's a striker, which means he hits hard, fast, and pretty much everywhere. He's like a ninja with those body punches, leg kicks, front kicks, and knees. Dude's got a style that's all about going on the offensive and making his opponent wince with every blow. Add his Muay Thai background into the mix, and you've got a walking, talking, punching nightmare for just about any contender. He's dished out some pretty solid wins in his time, with a solid unanimous win against Mike Trizano in February 2022. Before that, Dawodu faced a bit of a bump in the road, with a unanimous loss to Movsar Evloev in June 2021. He did pull off a razor-thin split decision win against Zubaira Tukugov in September 2020, and another one against Julio Arce in November 2019. Now, on the flip side, we have Cub Swanson. This dude's all about jiu-jitsu, which means he's a bit of a floor specialist. He could get you on the mat and make you feel like you're wrestling with an octopus. But don't get it twisted, he's no one-trick pony. Cub can swing it out standing up just as well as he can wrestle you down. He's earned his stripes as a tough, scrappy fighter who isn't scared to get his hands dirty. And before his recent loss, Swanson KO'd Darren Elkins in the very first round in December 2021. Gotta love a swift victory. But in May 2021, Giga Chikadze turned the tables on Cub with a first-round TKO. On a brighter note, Swanson bagged a couple of TKO victories in the second round against Daniel Pineda in December 2020 and Kron Gracie in October 2019 with a unanimous decision win. Now picture this. In the red corner, we've got Mean Hakeem, the striking superstar with fists of fury. And in the blue corner, we've got the killer Cub, the jiu-jitsu genius who loves a good ground and pound. It's a classic case of puncher versus wrestler, and we're all set for a brawl that'll keep us on the edge of our seats. But now that we know the competition is fierce, what's the forecast for this upcoming fight? I gotta say, if we had hopped into our time machines and set the dial to a few years back, I would have put my money on Cub surviving just about anything. Dude was practically undead in the ring, could take a licking and keep on ticking. But here's the cold hard truth. Time waits for no man, not even a UFC fighter. Sadly, our Cub is no exception. Let's just say the years have put a few dents in his armor, and those beatings he used to shrug off now leave a bit more of a mark. That invincible shield, my friends, is starting to show some cracks. And the fans are noticing too. They're leaning toward a late TKO win for Dawodu, somewhere in the region of the third round. Not because Cub doesn't have the chops, but more because the sands of time are a relentless opponent. Even the best gladiators have to hang up their swords eventually. And who knows, this might be the night that Cub leaves his gloves in the octagon for good. If that's the case, I reckon it'll be a sight that's both heartbreaking and heartwarming. Heartbreaking because we've loved watching him fight, and heartwarming because every warrior deserves a rest. But hey, I'm just speculating here. So, from fans placing their bets on Dawodu as ringmaster, to wondering whether the killer Cub still got it, this was fans predicting Cub Swanson vs. Hakeem Dawodu.
But man, I know their timing, I'm confident, and I'm about to take them out.
Swanson all over him! Cub Swanson...